So one of my senses is dulled.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the X Foils podcast car division. We are driving through the back roads of Mexico. We're driving from El Cuyo to Cancun. Are you going to pass this guy?
I don't know what's going on. We're in Yucatan. He's driving on the wrong side of the road.
He's just dodging potholes. I'm sitting here with Eric Braojos. Braojos?
Yeah, Braojos is perfect.
He's a good friend of mine. He's been in Puerto Rico with me. I pretty much taught him how to foil, let's be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
So we're in Cancun doing the Mayan Wind Fest. And so we're just driving back from El Cuyo to Cancun. The reason we're on this trip is Eric is the North rep for the East Coast.
Yeah, I covered the East Coast, Caribbean, Mexico, and yeah, pretty much South America.
So. Yeah, and Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico!
So he's my North rep. He's who I deal with to make all of my foil orders and kite orders and whatever else we do. And Mystic, so it's been super nice to be able to deal with him. And taught this good old boy how to foil.
Yes, you did.
Now, well, give me a little bit of background. Like, how'd you get into the industry? Because you've been in the industry for a while. You were an instructor, and then you became reps for different brands, and now you're, with North and Mystic. And then recently kind of fell in love with foiling, right?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back pretty far. I mean, I'd seen kite surfing in France. I think we all kind of get in through kite surfing, it seems like, from that. And I saw it in France, really wanted to do it. My family lives in France and Spain, and I was just like so obsessed. I kept seeing these guys go out on sevens, and at the time I didn't even know kite sizes or anything, and I was like, I want to do this. So I went to Clinique de la Planche, which is outside of Deauville, which is like this little fisherman town, and I bought a setup from them, and the guy was like, hey, do you know how to do this? And I was like, nope, just here to buy a setup. And he was like, oh, you need a lesson, it's very important, it's dangerous. And I was like,
don't you speak French?
I do, yeah, but I didn't want to speak. I didn't want to speak
to
French.
You like that?
No, he was like, faut que tu fasses, tu peux pas faire tout seul, but I was just trying to make it easy, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, look, we're gonna just include a lesson with you buying all this stuff. We'd prefer it that way. So I was like, sweet, and I went out there and.
That sounds very responsible of them.
Yep. Totally. I mean, those guys, they're still there, actually. They're still thriving now. I feel like they're doing a lot of winging and foil stuff. I follow them on Instagram. But yeah, it was pretty sweet. They took me out in like a little Zodiac, and when it was high tide, the water fills in this like lagoon. It's pretty much like a big pool. So if you get your first ride, you just hit sand on the other side. And and that's where I got kind of like my first intro lesson. And then followed by me continuing to go out on my own and, suffer and get dragged around. And I went and spent a summer in Spain and decided to pretty much donate my time at a kite school, Mestral Kite, and just work for free for use of gear and knowledge, So that was kind of how I got into it. And then totally friggin' changed my life, kite surfing. I was like hooked day one. And became an instructor, went through the IKO process. Super fun for me. I speak Spanish and French fluently, so then just started like traveling to different spots and teaching kiting and I didn't want to do anything else, like that was all I wanted to do. And that's all I did was just season to season teaching kiting, all over Europe until I ended up back in the States and opened up my own little kite school out of a van.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah, that was a really fun time. I'd seen all these guys in Spain like showing up to kite spots with their vans, and I went to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My parents retired there, so I ended up going there, and I bought a retired ambulance, and I converted it into like my little mobile kite school. And started teaching kite surfing there.
Myrtle Beach kiteboarding?
Yep, Myrtle Beach kiteboarding. It's still alive and well and thriving. Not the greatest place to kite, so.
Thriving, Eric?
Thriving. It's thriving. No, it's funny.
It's surviving, or is it thriving?
No, I say it's thriving because it's funny. Out of complete neglect, it's actually grown. Like it's getting more views, and I get those little. I'm sure you get it, like the Google hits per week, per month, and I'm always like, wow, that's crazy. Like so, more and more people are wanting to kite. But what's super funny with Myrtle Beach is I always get now requests for like, hey, do you guys do foiling? Do you e-foil? And I think that's just proof again where it's like we're seeing a lot of I don't know, right? Like people want to foil now. Yeah, and then after that I kind of decided, Real Water Sports was on my list of like schools I wanted to teach at. So I applied at Real, and actually I won't forget it because my first time applying there, I was like, hey, experienced kite surf instructor, I want to work for you guys. And they were like, we are full. Like, we have too many kite surf instructors. Like, we don't need kite surf instructors. You can work at the restaurant. And I was like, I don't really want to work at the restaurant. So did not go to Real. And then a year later, they said they needed kite instructors. So pretty much packed up everything and headed to Real Water Sports. And I would say the Outer Banks was just like, boom, like seeing Triple S, seeing the park out there. I mean, they had sliders, epic wind conditions. So I think that, definitely my wife Justina and I just like fell in love, right? Like we got there and it was like all you had to do was session, feed yourself, sleep, session again. And we spent 6 years there. So
I don't know I assume you were there.
I think
sure I met you, right? I went there for the Triple S when it was the Wind Voyagers Triple S. I think it was the last year.
Was that the one with the roots, right? Where they had okay. Yeah.
And they also filmed the movie Send It.
Yeah.
Right? They were filming the movie Send It, which was a kite movie made by Charlie, what was his last name?
McKinney.
Charlie McKinney.
Epic. Yeah, no.
And he had all the pro riders as like extras, and it was like a kiteboarding movie, love story.
Yeah, it's like your Disney kite movie, I would say.
And it's out there. It's called Send It.
I'm actually in it. I don't know if you've watched it.
Yeah, you played a big part, right?
Yeah, one-line security guard, but hey, I'm in it.
And I was there during the filming, so that was cool. It was a really cool scene, and Real Water Sports is such a scene. That place is, it's crazy. And where'd you go from there? From Real Water Sports after you taught there, and you still live there. You just recently moved to Florida, right? So I'm fast forwarding, but
yeah, correct. So we kept living in the Outer Banks, and kind of like the winter season there it's still windy, but it's pretty harsh, pretty cold. So we would go back to Key West, Florida, and just teach kiting there. I was a jet ski tour guide, which was like super fun, just smash around on a jet ski and then kite when it's windy. Problem with Key West is if you don't have a boat, it's really hard. There's
no wonder you like towing so much. You're just a jet ski tour guide.
That's it. Yeah. I love being on jet skis. I honestly, that's like a big part of my life was just being on a jet ski, whether as a tour guide or even at Real, because Real teaches on jet skis.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I love being on jet skis. Actually, I always had this like goal, and I was like, I'd watch like big surfing competitions, and I'm like, I loved watching the surfer, but I loved watching the guy on the rescue ski. Like, it's pretty like intense, right?
It is. It is cool. Like going out there with your tow buddy and like in these big waves, and just being on point with the ski, knowing how to manage it and maneuver it in the right way, and like, tow them out in the right place, and it's all of that. Like, one thing with towing is being a good foiler, but being a good ski driver is extremely important, and that's why I don't go towing with everybody, because it can be very uncomfortable or unsettling, and I like being in control,
you in control
of situations and like how things are going. So do you. So I think when we get on a trip like this, you're like, all right, get in the car, we're going here. Well, I want this coffee. I'm like, well, I want that coffee. And we're like, meh,
No, but it works well. I think you need that, you definitely need that trust when you're towing with someone. And then both obviously being comfortable driving a ski, but it is really intimate, I would say, because you're going out in big conditions. If you're going to go tow, you're trying to go out in something extreme. So it's an extreme situation. I feel like trusting your partner, trusting the machine, doing all your safety checkups, and I know I love it because it feels like it's this really unique experience, but at the same time, there's a lot of trust to the other person. So it just feels like
well, it depends what conditions you're going out in, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, when I moved to Puerto Rico for the winter there, I mean, you took me out in some of the most extreme conditions I've ever been in.
I thought you were a better foiler than you were.
Man, I was comfortable on the jet ski, but definitely, teeter-tottering over, like, scared for my life on the foil situations.
Yeah, we went out in some pretty gnarly stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what Walt and I did. I just towed Walt into these, like, giant waves that he just was not ready for. Really good awareness, on the ski and a waterman. So, it felt fine, it felt comfortable. I mean, I wouldn't take people out there that aren't as comfortable in the water and, even if they're not a good foiler. Core kites, what was that?
Oh, no. That's interesting. No, but that was cool. I felt like you fast-tracked me with my foiling progression because of that.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like, we would come around the corner there, and it was, like, huge. And I was like, oh, shit, and you're like, you okay there, buddy? Are you scared? And it's like, yeah, a little bit. But I
What's
feel...
What's that? You think we should eat there? Those are empanadas.
Those are empanadas.
Right?
Do you want some?
Oh, are you hungry?
Should we do it? I'm hungry. We can.
Yeah, I think we should pause.
That looks like the real deal.
So we're, whoever's on the YouTube, I'm so sorry that you're watching this. We're sitting in a car driving down this, like, little Mexican town. I mean, it is awesome.
I mean, it's like out of the movies. Like any
Head
little...
northwest on
Well, no,
we're in like a little town. And we're looking for
U-turn
any
at
street
I-51.
food that we can find. And
Make a U-turn
the
at
last little town
I-51.
said that they stopped serving empanadas at 7 a.m. So, all right, well, we'll get back to you guys. We need to eat these empanadas.
Oh, those look great.
So, tacos were
amazing.
Epic. Oh my God.
Fucking hell.
Tacos de cochinita right there from La Doña. It was, awesome.
I just love that, like, so it's going to be good when
Careful,
there's like a
biker.
big group of people. There was like this big group of people. They're all just like hanging around the lady, and she's dishing out tacos, and they're like, otro más, and people are hanging out with their kids. I mean, I fucking love this. I love Mexico.
Dude, they're so friendly.
Yeah.
And this guy, so they pass him the habanero, and he's gonna put this hot sauce on top of his taco. It's all rolled up.
But they're like, be careful, I'm a
It's
little...
super spicy. So he's like trying to like dip it on the top, and the old lady beside him is like, you should open up the taco and put it inside, and everyone started laughing.
Yeah, I guess that's not taco etiquette,
No, you put it in the taco.
Yeah, I just want to put a little on top. But no, it was good.
Okay.
The locals are super friendly. I think that's one thing. If anybody's coming to Mexico, they're really nice people, and I think they're almost like excited. The guy was even like, yeah, no restaurant, street tacos is best. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, we want to be a part of the culture, right? So,
Yeah, lots of street tacos on the menu.
Street tacos, street empanadas, street desserts. I mean, it's cool.
So what were we talking about?
I think we were talking about towing. Yeah, I was
they
giving a
excelled your
little about
foiling.
like my background.
And how
and
you sucked.
towing, correct. I think what's funny is like the first foil I saw was obviously working at Reel. I remember it was like a slingshot foil setup that got sent to Reel, and Matt Nuzzo like called the instructors that wanted to come, that wanted to try it out. So we were like all out there, trying out this foil, kite foiling.
200 meters at the roundabout. Take the second exit toward Popo.
But we quickly wanted to try to tow behind it. I think I remember there was like 4 of us. We all sat on a jet ski, and we were trying to create more of a wake. And we quickly wanted to try to like, pump behind it and do that, but the foils just weren't. Do I go left or
Keep
right?
right.
Okay, keep right.
Right?
Yeah, I think so.
That was where we were going.
That's where we ended up
police.
going further. But yeah, so no, foiling from the beginning, I will say I was a little negative towards it. I was like, not the most excited because it was
Well,
really heavy.
You were like a
and-
park rider, right? Weren't you doing like
Yeah.
park freestyle or what?
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, I'm gonna ride around on this hydrofoil and
Yeah.
like, dirt.
It was kind of boring, and like the kite foiling, like, I learned it. I kind of had to be able to teach it and stuff, and it was fun. I mean, like the little sunset session. I had these waterproof headphones I would use for park foiling, so I had made like a new playlist for foiling, not riding park, and it was more like chill music, like Jimi Hendrix, little Bob Marley sunset foil sessions.
Jimi Hendrix's chill music.
Yeah, I mean, for me, nice little chill.
All right, so kite foiling is how you got into it.
Yeah.
You were a surfer as well?
No, so actually it's funny. I grew up in California, never surfed. I was more like skateboarding.
Because the Outer Banks is pretty...
Yeah, Outer Banks is
popular for
huge. Our first
surfing.
year, we were like not surfing. We were only kiting, only park. I mean, there's just so much to do there. It's actually crazy now that I am surfing and prone surfing. There's so many days where it's good wind, but that creates really good waves as well. So I kind of like, after our second year, I was like, man, I want to surf, and started that progression of just like surfing, and really enjoyed that. And now prone is my favorite by far. It's like, even if it's good wind, like I'm going to go prone foil if that's available. That's like number one on the priority list. I mean, I would say I had a really slow progression. It took me almost 2 years until I went and spent time with you and Arlen in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I felt like I wasn't getting it. It was just really hard. I mean, the waves in Hatteras are pretty harsh too.
But were you ever surfing
Yeah.
in Hatteras?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you did surf a little
So
bit.
yeah, I was like able to like catch waves on a surfboard. I was doing that already, but for some reason the it's hard. It's like driving 100 kilometers an hour doing a podcast. It's like, it's tricky, but we got it. No. So yeah, surfing, I was getting it, and then prone surfing, I just couldn't get it. I kept getting bucked off, or I wasn't in the right spot, or I don't know, maybe I wasn't using the right gear. It was pretty frustrating. I remember Justina was like always surfing, and I'd go prone and I'd have a terrible session. I was like really mad. I was like, she's like, why do you keep doing it if you're not having fun? Like, it just seems like you're not having fun. And I was like, because I want to get better, and I know I can have fun. I like need to do this. I was really focused on wanting to prone. And
So you don't have like a ton of foiling background then?
no, not at all. It was kind of like I kite foiled enough to be able to teach it, to like check off that box so I could, get kite foil lessons. But I never would go
So you're kind of
kite
like,
foil.
right now, you're really at the cusp of your progression. Like you really felt like, oh, okay, now I can pump, and now.
Yes.
So yeah, because I remember when you were learning, you're so stiff,
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
low to the board, but not able to pump it around. You
Yeah.
had the right equipment. That was not the issue, let me tell you. Winging, you only spent a couple days winging in Puerto
Yeah.
Rico.
Yeah, really haven't found the love for winging either. I really enjoy more of like the surf aspect with foiling. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I was talking to
The wing just gets in the way. Like, I know everybody's like, oh, once you do it, you're gonna like love it because you could wing upwind. And I did in Portugal. I would say we had that North Sales meeting.
Yeah.
That was sick because it was like all I had to do is like get up on the wing board, get out there, and then literally you could ride for like 3 minutes just holding the wing on these like big swells and just foiling. That's fun. But like winging in a spot, I don't really like. I'm not gonna be jumping with the wing or just to be on foil. It doesn't interest me. It's kind of like kite foiling. Like,
Well, okay, so I think you're missing the mark a little bit because, I mean, there's days where it's flat, you can't surf, you can't go on foil. If you go out there with a wing foil, the amount of time you get on foil, anytime you like get on a foil, you advance, right? So I think you got to find where, I mean, maybe it's not like your favorite sport, but for me, what I really like about foiling is that I can do all these disciplines and it's really foiling, and it translates through all disciplines. So I can go wing foiling and I can be on foil for 30 minutes, right? versus
Yeah.
when you're surfing, you're on foil for what, 35 seconds, a minute at a time.
Lucky if you
right?
get a minute. Like a minute is like
So the amount of time you get to
epic.
learn and tune in your foils. Of course, you're surfing, right? So it's different. You've got wave energy and stuff. But I just think, if you don't love the winging aspect of it, I understand. It's kind of weird because you come from a wind sports background
right.
as well. Kiting, it's wind driven. So. But I understand like where that comes from a little bit because it feels
I
boring
think
because you're
it
just going back
depends
and
on the
forth on a
spot,
kite.
you know, like where you're at in Puerto Rico. When I went like a couple times with Julian out to those like outer reefs and Ocean Park, like that's super fun.
Yeah.
You know, that place in Portugal, super fun. Like the wing, I feel like adds to the foil, but just, if you're gonna be in like a flat water spot or like choppy water, like I don't know, it's not as
Well, you can
exciting.
go, get up on foil, speed up, hold the wing in your hand, and take your surf foil and see how long you can pump for. You know, like there's so much that you can learn from, crossing over these disciplines. I mean, there's a ton of people that are surf foilers, like proners and sup foilers and foil drivers, towers, and they don't wing and they find it extremely difficult. I don't.
Well, they don't have
I
the
didn't-
wind stuff.
Yeah, the wind stuff just didn't. It wasn't that difficult for me to learn. For sure, it took time. Winging was frustrating because you don't really feel like you're progressing.
No.
Sometimes you just feel like all you're doing is climbing on a board,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's what deters people is that you feel very little success for a long time. It kind of like plateaus.
Yeah.
And you don't, until you get up on foil and get over that hump.
So I think my winging, my love for winging is actually starting because just recently moving to Florida, what's really cool is in the Banana River there, they do these things called river runs. And it's pretty fun. It's like all you have to do is, get up on foil with your wing and then you can ride the bumps. It's I'm not going to say it's similar to like Hood River, but the concept is the same. It's like you do a downwind run with your wing and your foil board, and that's super fun. Because you're just like using a super small wing, maybe like a 3.5, you get up and you just go. And like, that's enjoyable. So yeah, definitely I'm warming up to winging. And I am warmed up. I think I just need to find where it fits. It's just really hard because now with like foil drive, it's like if I can't prone, and if the choice is like go out there and wing the bumps or go out to the ocean and foil drive, like I kind of want to go foil drive. Like you also spend a lot of time on foil.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you have a foil drive, yeah. Not everyone has the luxury of having a foil drive.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky.
Lucky boy.
North's been foil drive and North are working together, so I was able to score a mast, where
You got that integrated mast,
I
right?
did, yeah.
That doesn't exist yet.
Which is awesome. And it will exist.
I'm riding that thing too.
It's in existence. So I think that really kind of pushed me over the edge to get the foil drive.
Yeah, that says crosswalk, and then you'll have a tope.
Okay.
All right, so just don't
Speed
hit them
bump.
at like
Got it.
60 miles an hour.
Yeah, it was so cool. So I get the integrated mast, and it's to like show shops that this is the product that we're getting, and I was like, man, I can't own this like really cool toy and not have the other pieces that I need to use it. So,
Yeah, that would be ridiculous.
It'd be-
You just walking around the shops being like, look at our integrated foil drive mast, and then you put it back on your shelf
That's
and
it.
just look at it. You already have half, not half of it. The foil drive box, the black box, that unit is the most expensive. That is the foil drive. So it's good that you have a piece of it, and then you don't have to tape it up.
But the integrated mast is sweet because, like you said, no tape up. It's super clean. It's really well done. I think those guys crushed it by doing that.
And essentially, I've talked about it before. When people get into foil drive, most people are buying an additional mast anyway.
Yeah, they're not going to swap every session. That'd be so much work.
But you do, when you buy your foil drive unit, you have to buy the unit up front with the integrated mast. If not, then you have two motor pods, and it's just going to be more expensive. So it has to be like a before thought. If you buy the integrated mast after, it is, I'm just thinking from a shop point of view. It is more expensive afterwards because then you're essentially buying 2 motors and 2 cables. Because you can buy the kit. You buy the kit with the motor pod and everything, and then you put it on your mast. You can buy the integrated mast and skip having the motor. And I mean, you're not really spending more money. It's not more expensive to have an integrated mast if you're buying it all complete, because you're going to buy a mast anyway. So
Yeah, you're gonna end up with a mast, and I almost feel too like
that's kinda
honestly, you're
what I
gonna
was thinking about the other day.
end up with another board almost. You know.
Yeah.
I thankfully, being a sales rep, I have that luxury of having boards and demo boards, so I haven't needed to take off. Like my foil drive setup's like the foil drive setup, and it's there, and it's just all put together, and I really like that.
All of us are doing that, Eric.
But
But
no,
yeah, you
no,
do.
if people are gonna buy, if they're thinking of buying and they're listening to this, it's not like, let's be truthful here. Like you're gonna want a separate board and a separate mast, right? You're not gonna like, oh, I'm gonna go foil drive for an hour and like take everything apart, re-put it all together, like otherwise then you're not gonna prone anymore. Which I saw that's happening to a couple guys in Cocoa Beach. He almost, this guy I ride with, David, he said, man, I need to buy another board because I'm not proning anymore because like my foil drive's already on it. So I'm just like, forget it. I'll just foil drive,
Yeah.
So.
I still love the feeling of, paddling in, being on a lighter board, and I think you said it the other day, right? So being out there with my boys.
Yeah.
If I go surfing, it's Arlen and I, right? It was us.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
Arlen and I. We all would go proning together, and we all take our boards, we all paddle out together, we all either suffer or we all catch waves or we all don't,
Yeah.
But then, Arlen calls me the other day. He's like, hey man, let's go to La Ocho. And I'm like, man. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go outside in front of my house alone with my tunes and go rip out on my foil drive.
100%.
So then you end up just sessioning alone. You could foil drive together, but at least
foil driving
least
with
for
a
us,
friend is fun as well. But I think what's happening is it's almost, if your friend doesn't have a foil drive, you may just go foil drive because it's like more convenient.
Not my friend anymore.
Get a foil drive. No, but it's true because it's almost more convenient sometimes, or sometimes the conditions are just like, I know, especially just moving to Cocoa Beach, I'm kind of learning the area and kind of learning how the swell comes in. There's days out there that if it wasn't for a foil drive, I would not be getting into the waves I can get into from like further out back and longer rides. And it's the truth, so having the foil drive, so you feel bad. It's like, I've been riding with Kai.
Dude, there were 2 holes for your wheels
I like
to go
the
through.
speed bump though. No, but riding with Kai, it's like I feel bad because it's like I'm not going to text you and be like, hey man, do you want to go foil together? And then you show up with your foil drive and you're just like ripping circles around someone. It's kind of like,
It's fine. I think that's fine.
no, I mean,
As long as like you're going out with that friend and
but if the conditions aren't like super great, the foil drive lets you go out, I think, when it's not primed for proning.
and then you could swap off and give the foil drive to your friend and then ruin their life.
Make sure you have the max. You want to have the max. You have maximum time on the water,
Yeah.
and you can do that.
I mean, if it's already going to be 25 pounds, 22 pounds is not going to make a huge difference, and then you get less riding time.
No, but I'm happy. 2024 for me was like the year. It was like, I feel like I really progressed in foiling, like super comfortable. The foil drive helped me a ton. It just allowed me to like go out and practice and focus on certain things. All the towing I did. I mean, after Puerto Rico, I was so stoked on towing that it was like, I got to buy a jet ski. I figured out where I'm at in Cocoa Beach. I can go out really easy and tow there, and I've been going out with some guys that live there, and it's just really fun, right? So having all those things has just been amazing. And I just listened to your podcast you did with Ren, and
Of course you did.
I'm like kind of like, I don't know what to say about this new buggy or
Boogie.
I haven't seen one, so I'm just like, is this like a private person that's making these, or is
Yeah.
it like, and he just made a couple, or
No, he's made a bunch. He's
he's
selling
made a bunch?
them. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you listen to my podcast, you'd know.
No, I mean, you didn't really reveal much. You were kind of like, I tried to sell them and I can't, and
Well,
I'm getting one. And that was it. It was not very
Well, I tried to, I wanted to retail them, right? But
Right.
he doesn't want to. He's going direct, which is totally appropriate. He's got too much demand already, and he's building most of them in his garage. You know, this guy's in Australia. So yeah, you can buy them. He's selling them. He's updating them. He's upgrading them. He's trying to figure out. And he's kind of. We talked to him on the phone after we stopped the podcast. He called on Instagram, and we talked to him for a little bit, which was really cool. Gonna get him on the podcast for sure, and he's into it. But he's like, I don't really, I don't want them all over the place.
I mean, it's fair.
Like if I start like mass producing them or something, which I'm sure he could figure out, but I think he's happy just making them, selling a few here and there when the demand is high, and getting them into people's hands. But he doesn't want them like everywhere.
The right people. I think it has to be the right people.
Yeah.
From what I heard you guys talking about, and from what I've seen in a few videos, I don't think it's for the masses, and I think the right people need to use it.
Tope, hold on.
That's cool. You have the gimbal, I guess. He wants to.
You gotta pay attention to the road, bro.
bumps.
Come on. You want me to drive?
No, it's
Oh,
fine.
you're good?
I'm
Okay.
driving.
So, all right. You, when you started really getting into foiling was when you moved to Puerto Rico for like 6 months, right? Or were you prone foiling before that a little bit?
No, so I was prone foiling before that with my neighbor Dave in the Outer Banks. And he's like epic surfer who started getting into prone for the days you can't surf. So we were going like religiously every morning. And this is all during the time like Justina's pregnant. Like we hadn't even had Mia yet. And I'm just like every morning, like you told me, you were the one that you were like, just stop looking at the conditions and just go, Yeah. Just like, it doesn't matter, just go. Like you're going to either catch a wave or not, but you're going to be out there paddling. And it was really good. It's really good advice. You just want to get really good at paddling and spending time out there. So that's what I did. I was going every day, but I wasn't really like progressing. And Dave and I were like kind of at the same level, like stoked if we got like a long ride. We weren't going out the back. We were just straight to the beach. If we got a long ride, it was like celebration and getting these like glory rides. It kind of reminded me of like teaching kiting where you're like, okay, bro, like I'm really happy you can dive the kite and ride forever until you crash. But now we need to like try to go the other way or try to, progress. And that's where I feel I just wasn't doing that. So I was like, all right, I need to figure out a way.
How much surfing had you done up to this point? Not foil surfing, but surfing. Because I remember coaching you when you came to Puerto Rico and we were on the jet ski, like how to ride a wave.
Yeah.
So you weren't really a surfer.
No. So I was like surfing like longboard or really big board on like mellow days in the Outer Banks,
Makes sense.
So yeah, not really any. And surfing, it was weird. It was like such a short ride. Like I didn't feel like, I don't know. It's enjoyable, but it's definitely feels like it was always a lot of work for what you're getting. Where I think with foiling, it's a lot of work, but then you get so much more, right?
Yeah.
You're just like
get so much
exponentially.
more
You
out of
can
it.
catch all these waves, and a little wave can feel like so much fun,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just wanted to go to Puerto Rico. I was stoked, hanging out with you and Arlen at the event in Florida, which is coming up actually. Billy's event, and you're coming back this year.
The FPLRT. What is it? FSLR?
FSLR.
No, FSRL.
FSRL?
Foil Surf Race League, yeah. RL.
FSRL.
Yeah.
All right, here we are.
It took me 3 years to get that down. LRS.
So yeah, that's coming up in March, March 7th, 8th, and 9th. So I think that's where, like, after meeting you there and hanging out with you and Arlen and seeing how you guys have this like foil buddy camaraderie and like, pushing each other and stuff, I was like, man, that's really cool. Like I need to spend time with those guys. Like just in general, going to that event and being around.
Because you didn't enter the event that first
No,
year.
I didn't. I was like, dude, I suck. Like I'm not gonna do it, and I just saw everybody and foiling everybody, and it was cool. It's not like surfing, I would say, like, and that's what I was always kind of confused about. Like surfing, people are like, this is my wave. Like it's pretty like you're not like saying hello to other surfers, and foiling, the foil community is like super welcoming, right? And that
I guess
awesome.
it's different. Oh shit. I guess it's different if like you don't have your surf buddies and you're not part of it, you know, and you're not going to these waves with these people. You're just, you know, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I want to surf. So you paddle in with your longboard. Like, yeah, they're not going to be like, hey, bro, what's up? How's it going? You should paddle in for this one. Go, go, go. Yeah. They're like, no. Like, yeah, they're like, oh, look at this guy. He's going to get in my way. It's like what? Like, why would they want you around there? You know?
Yeah.
They don't know if you're cool or not. They're like, you know, obviously you didn't look cool. No. That's why they didn't talk to you. Foiling is, foil surfing is a lot more inviting, I think, because they've been through this struggle and they know it. And to be able to go out there and surf on a foil, you've got to be, I mean, pretty decent in the waves, you know.
For sure.
But you can learn your way through that. I don't know what it is about the foil surfing that everyone feels a little bit more inviting. You're gonna stick left
on it.
But yeah, everyone's super inviting, super cool. The event. I mean, man, you go to a surf event, a surf competition.
Oh, it's serious.
Maybe. Yeah, but people. It depends on the event, right? We don't have a serious foil surfing event because it's so new, and it's just the foil surfers themselves have to create it, and there will be. But you go to a surf event, for sure it's fun. There is some camaraderie, right?
Right.
People know each other. They're not fighting for waves. They're competing against each other on the waves. So, yeah, you go to a foil event. We're all having a good time. We're all having fun. There are people cutting people off. There are, you know, like...
Yeah, FSRL, everybody, like, it didn't matter, like, your ability level. Everybody's super happy and just friendly in the water, right?
Because we just need more... We need the surf foiling level to get up there, right? And there's some, like, I mean, amazing surfers that are competing in this event.
But just in 1 year, do you remember how funny it was? I think what hit me the hardest when we go to that event. So the first year I go there, you guys come, super stoked. I'm with North, you're with North, we all hang out. Then the next year we kind of planned it better and we went together.
And I went with Code, you were with North.
We just went to foil. And I remember the first year.
I always go to all these events with you, with North, and to help represent and,
of course,
and push the brand.
Like
and,
a team,
you know, make their foils as good as they can be, right? I'm on your team.
No, and it's great, and you get stuff earlier. You get to try things. I remember, you know, you had the vert.
I love it that the North rep is calling me to ask what foils are coming out soon.
Yeah, I mean,
like I'm on the edge of the.
You're like
design.
You're like the pre-company email. It's like Dylan knows what's happening.
Dylan knows.
Call Dylan. Like I'm like, hold on, let me call Dylan
I'll
on this.
I'll give you the lowdown.
No, and you had the prone board, the one that North came out with, the vert. You were like first one to even have it. We had it at the event, which I thought was fun, and then how downwinding just exploded, right? Like the first year, I think there was like four
there was
people.
Like 4. So yeah, that was funny.
That was nuts, man.
There was like 4 suppers or 3, right, in this. So the FSRL, I did it. It's if whoever's listening to this that doesn't know what it is, it's a prone foil race essentially. I don't know if I've talked about it before on the podcast, but
well, it's a perfect time to talk about it, Dylan, because it's coming up. It'd be sweet. We need more people.
All right, Eric, the promoter here. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can look at my diagram. I'm just joking.
Click the link for foiloutlet.com. Whoa,
dude, come on.
Sorry. Okay.
So there's a start point, there's a finish point, and it's like online. There's like poles on the beach. So you have to start before the start line, which is either downwind or upwind. Like it doesn't matter. It depends how the wind can shift. They kind of want it to be the first start to finish leg. They want it to be downwind, so it's easier. So you start on one side of the start line, and I don't know. The first year was like 20 foilers. 30 foilers, 40 foilers, and we all start on the beach. You run into the water, you catch a wave, you have to stand up, get on foil, and you have to be on foil to start and cross the finish line. And you kind of catch a wave and you kind of do like a shore runner, right? And you run down the shore, you have to be on foil, you have to go across the finish line, and if you're still on foil, you can go and circle around and pump all the way back to the start line again. So in between this start and finish,
Well, if you can't pump, you can also run up the beach,
Yes.
which I've done.
So I'm going to get into this. Hold on. I'm going through the whole thing. So if you get up on foil, you're before the start line, get up on foil, kick off the back of a wave, and start pumping. You cross the start line, you have started your first leg of the race. If you fall, you cannot move within the box between the start and finish line paddling. You have to stay where you are, and you have to catch a wave. You can only move to the finish line on foil. Okay? Once you cross the finish line, if you fall, because you gas out or you make a mistake, as long as you cross the finish line, that's a lap. If you fall off foil, sure, you can try to catch another wave and pump back, but it's probably going to take you longer. So what you do is you go to the beach and you run back to the start line, run past it, run into the water again to start another lap. And there's 2 or 3 laps. I think it was 2 laps.
2 laps.
Right?
2 laps.
So you can do that. What was another thing? Oh yeah, so if you're pumping past the finish, you pump around to pump back to the start. Once you pump back to the start, you have to stop to catch another wave. You can't just do 2 laps pumping back and forth because these guys can do it. You take a big foil, they're pumping past the finish, pumping past the start, pump past the finish, like, and they're done 2 laps like this. So once you go past the start line again, you have to stop to catch another wave. So you have to catch another wave. If you go past the finish line and you pump back halfway and you fall in the box before the start line, you have to come back to the beach, run down the beach, and start your lap again. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think you explained it perfectly.
So there's an open and then there's a pro,
Right.
right? And the first year was, has it been 2 years now?
This
is
is
gonna
yeah.
be the third,
This is going to
or-
be the third. Yeah.
Was I at the first
You were at the first.
ever?
Yeah, and the
Oh,
second.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So,
No, this is the 4th.
because I don't know, I can't remember.
No, this is the
They-
4th.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I was
because
at the second year.
Yeah, you were at the second year, and then the third.
It's in Cocoa Beach, Cocoa Beach.
Cocoa Beach.
It's held by Good Breeze,
Yeah.
Billy
Bosh.
Bosch, and then they've got like a bunch of sponsors. You know, North sponsors it, Lyft. Foil Drive was there. I guess
Foil
they were,
Drive
they
was
were just
there.
there as like a show. You can't actually use a foil drive in the event.
And that might change. I don't know. I've heard rumors. I don't know if it's going to happen or not for this year's event, but they may have like a foil drive portion where maybe it's like you go through buoys or something. I don't know.
That'd be
Maybe
cool.
There might be something added there, but
That'd be super cool.
no, super cool event though.
Yeah, the first year was light. Second year, man.
Oh, you're forgetting the best part. Expression session. Yeah.
So the race is one thing, which is very unique. It's a
yeah.
prone foil race. The first year, which was my first year there, which I guess is now we're saying is the second year of the event, there was only like 3 suppers. So one guy, Eric, just won the whole thing because he was able to pump back and forth, and he was the only one that was able to sup. Went back the second year, and that's when downwind foiling really took off, and we all started getting into the downwinding. And I'm like, so I signed up for the event. I'm like, supping. I'm like, I know how to sup. I'm great at the sup. So I sign up for the prone open and the sup open. And then I get there, and there's 25, 30 people doing the sup. Like, duh. Because everyone's doing this downwind thing. Like the Spencer brothers were there. Who's that guy that rides for Nash? Austin Kalama was there, and a bunch of other people.
What a great athlete.
I'm just like, I'm brain farting. But so, unfortunately, I didn't really know how it was going to go, but because I was in the open, not the pro, it went like prone open, and then sup open. So I was like back to back.
Yeah.
And then it went then it went prone open
Qualifiers.
the next. So I went and did that, and then it did the sup qualifiers, and then I did that, and I think I did like 4 in a row, and I was switching my foil from this board to that board, and I was running, and I was like to the start to the finish, and I was doing laps and running. I was
You burned a lot of calories.
I
you're
was
like,
so
water,
exhausted.
give me water, help.
And they're like, yeah, you made it past. I'm like, what? So I have to go in this one now? I was like, oh my gosh, it was super fun, man. I love that event.
Yeah.
I would do it. I would do it the same again. But these guys on the sup, like, they're on 90-liter tiny little sup boards, and they run into the water.
Paddle up. They
Yeah.
were so good.
They don't even turn around to catch a wave. They're pumping against the swell,
Yeah.
flat water against the wind, starting, and then pumping to the start, pumping to the finish. And then they just boom, 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 paddle up again, back and forth. And they were like, dude, I couldn't even stand on my board before they were done a lap. That was in the pro.
That was in the pro, but I mean,
Actually, wasn't the sup all open?
sub was all open,
There
but in the
wasn't a pro.
in the prone, I mean, there was one
crazy.
point where I just looked and you just see everybody pumping.
Everyone pumping around and like,
I mean,
it's kind of
yeah,
So
James Jenkins out there, you know, I mean, it's
Austin Toby,
insane.
Jack from town, Edo. I mean, everyone.
Austin Toby went to like a local hotel there that night. Remember, and he like pumped through this pool, this like river
that's
pool indoors. I mean, yeah, just insane level of foilers there.
Yeah.
So I think that is like, that's definitely one. If anybody's listening is like foiling and looking to see what the foiling community looks like,
Stop looking at him, dude. He's
That-
touching himself.
really,
It's just
that was
some
disturbing.
like homeless guy just laying on the floor, just like touching himself as we roll through this tiny little town. So, and then yeah, they do. You got to turn right up here.
cool.
Oh, this is where we had tacos when we came through
Oh, the
yesterday.
first-
yeah, that was good. It wasn't amazing, but it was
No,
good.
these were way better.
Yeah, those cochinitas were great.
Los
So
cochinitos.
after the race, then there's it's an expression session.
It's called the expression session.
Is it?
Yeah, because everybody expresses himself, and it's either like strap. You have
They
to
have
choose if
straps
you
or
want to ride
strapless.
strap or
There's two.
strapless. And there's people towing you in the waves, right?
But it's not really an expression session. It's because it is an event. They're not just doing it as an expedition. It is a competition.
Well, it's a competition, but I think
Is
it's
it called the
expression
expression
because
session?
you're like you can do a backflip or you can do
Okay.
something cool, and then they're gonna judge
Makes
you
sense. It's just from kiting. Whenever there's like an expression session, it's more like,
for
oh,
fun.
just go out and kite and like just show the audience what you can do, and there's no categorizing it. Anyway, it's like so they tow you up on a jet ski. There's 2 jet skis out there at 2 buoys. You have to paddle out to it. They tow you up. You get 5 tows per
5 tows.
per session. It's like
Yeah.
15 minutes, 7, 8 people, 9 people, whatever, and you can catch a wave if you want to, and then I think they only categorize best move.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could be a critical turn, it could be like,
Right.
you know, slashing a foam ball, it could be a strapless 360 air, it could be a backflip. So it really doesn't matter how well you're surfing the whole wave. It's more like that one critical move is categorized as a winner.
It's
or
like
not.
that best impression or
Yeah,
whatever.
best
right?
impression on like a single maneuver, which is, you know, for us mortals is like I can wiggle on a wave, you know, and like do some good turns, but all of that essentially doesn't really count towards anything unless you're like hitting a foam ball or doing a strapless air, what these guys are doing. Regardless, it's good because the whole day you're like proning and racing, then you get towed up on a jet ski and you get 5 tow-ins. So they can fling you to a wave, boom, you surf the wave, then you can paddle back to the jet ski, you can get another tow up, and you can do that 5 times to get 5 waves. If you find a set that you want to paddle into, you can paddle into it, and that could also count towards your best move. It doesn't matter how many waves you catch or how much you pump back and forth. It's really the most critical maneuver that wins, which is, I mean, it's cool. I think eventually they might spread it out and be like, I think it's because we're catching too many waves and there's too much going on. They want to categorize like whatever. These guys are doing backflips and 360 airs and stuff. It's kind of wild. So I just do it for the fun.
Yeah, I mean,
Catch waves.
I'm signing up this year for the towing just to get towed into 5 waves and have a good time, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
To be
It's
out
great.
there and people
Yeah.
cheer for you and
it's kind of like after the big race, you know, so it's always the next day and it's just like a really chill kind of, everybody's hanging out and watching and excited, and it's a really good event. They did well with that. Pensacola, they're trying to launch one too this year. Connecting it with like a sail week, I think.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah.
So I talked about it with Ren as well, as like, I understand that you didn't really love the. Is he just gonna park there?
I guess.
He's gonna throw his,
We're coming through one of those.
I think he's gonna throw his drugs away.
So guys, I'm just gonna talk about it. We're coming through one of these like police checkpoints or municipales, I guess. So every time.
Inspección.
So they can like pull you over. These guys are like heavily armed.
They don't care. I don't know what this is for, agriculture or something.
I think so.
Gobierno Yucatan.
Continue on. You think you spoke to Ren about this and
that, like, I understand why you didn't, resonate with the, kite foiling and the wing foiling, just going back and forth and whatever. I liked all of it. I liked being on foil. I kite foiled a lot, and I wasn't a surfer. You weren't a surfer, but what it always comes back to, and what foiling really is surfing, right? The surfing aspect of like catching waves and being able to pump around, or just to be able to ride a 1 foot wave on a foil is really what it always comes back to. And when I talk to everybody, that's kind of what they most resonate with, is the surfing aspect of foiling, right? So it's not super uncommon that you don't like to wing back and forth if you're not in the flats. Although it's an amazing practice and a tool, so you get a lot more foil time, you're just like, man, I want to be on a wave, right? I want to surf.
100%.
And most everyone kind of merges that way, because we don't come from a surf background, so it feels more unusual. I mean, I have a surf background now, because I do all this downwinding and all this surf foiling and foil driving and towing and whatever.
It's just so free, right? It's like
yeah, it just gives you like so much joy, and it's just always different. And you I mean,
like
you're
kite,
never,
no harness, no leash, no wing leash, no strap. It's just
no motor. No, there is. There's not. It's not for me. It's not the simplicity of gear. People always say that. Oh, it's just, you don't need that much gear and whatever. I'm like, that's not necessarily true. With kiting, they're like, oh, it's so much gear. It's almost less gear.
It is.
Like, you have a kite on a backpack with a bar, a pump, and a twin tip that's like 136 centimeters. Like, it's nothing. A foil is a lot more gear. It's a lot more to move around. It's hard to get in an elevator with. Like, it's not, for me, it's not the lack of, right?
I'm sorry. Do you need to fit your foil in elevators?
I'm just thinking of people that buy from the shop. They're like, oh, well, how do I get this up to my apartment?
I got it.
You're like, it's not less gear.
Right.
It feels more minimalistic because of, the lines and stuff, but it's not. It's not really less gear.
No, I think it's less gear when you're surfing the wave, Like, I love...
That's why Arlen doesn't wear a leash, and,
Yeah.
You're going to turn left.
Kite surfing is actually, when you're on a surfboard surfing the waves, that's a whole other thing, right? So,
Quintana Roo 5.
Quintana Roo 5. Oh, here we go. Is this another police checkpoint? No, it's not.
No, is this the right way, though?
Yeah, it's here.
Do you think there's a gas station somewhere?
Uh-oh. Keep your eye out. But I assume so. We're heading towards Cancun. You've got 110 kilometers left, dude.
Oh, really?
We got 105 to our destination, so we're
perfect.
fine. We're going to hit like a main city, town, something soon.
Yeah, Arlen should really wear a leash, though. That's dangerous. We don't want to promote that.
We've talked about it. I understand.
I mean, foils are sharp. And
they can be.
It can take a chunk out of you.
Yeah, I don't think we should be dulling out the foils too much. I think they should be sharp and dangerous. Anything else you want to touch up on, Eric, or what? What do you think?
Yeah, I
think
guess
we covered a little bit of your story.
Yeah.
A little bit of your progression, what you like about foiling, some event stuff that's coming up.
Yeah.
And I met Eric, he was an Air Rush rep, and then he moved to North, and where he really found his passion for water sports, because North has so much passion.
Yeah.
He was just, not living his dream over there.
Well, I think it's just like staying in the industry. No, it's true that like whatever sales rep brand, whatever it was, I think there was a point where I was just kind of like burned out on coaching. And I'm really glad, it was Sam Mediski actually in the Outer Banks. And he was like, we're having a beer on the porch. And I kind of told him, it's like, man, I love being a part of the industry, but I'm like so tired teaching kite surfing. And he's like, you should become a sales rep. It's like a really good transition. You're good at talking to people. You've made relationships with a lot of accounts already. You've worked for a lot of these people, whether it's Florida or, you know, Outer Banks. He's like, I think that's a good path. And he was right. I think that really helped me still be connected. You know, I think that's why we do it, right? We want to stay up to date on what's coming out, what new gear, like what competitions are happening, what events are going on. And that's kind of what's most exciting for me. And now with the foiling, it's finding like, you know, where to session, you know, new experiences. Like, it's just constantly changing. So it's like, I would love to try the boogie if I'm in Puerto Rico this year, you know?
Yeah.
And get a feel for that. I'd love to go tow more with you, or, you know.
In February.
It's great. And I think you've done a really good job. And it's really funny, actually. I'm like stoked to be on the podcast. And it blows my mind how many episodes you've done since I left Puerto Rico. Because literally it was like, came over to have coffee with you one morning. This was when you're like becoming a pilot. And then 3 hours later, you're like, I'm also going to start this podcast. And I was like, damn, Dylan, dude, you're just always doing something, you know? And I left, and it was like, yep, week later, first podcast comes out with Arlen. And then boom, boom, you just started pumping out these podcasts and telling the story about, you know, all the local riders in Puerto Rico, which was so awesome to hear.
Yeah.
And it was just really cool, and seeing you continue and, you know, put in the effort, because it takes time to do this. And, you know, we were in Oregon together. You brought all your stuff. You brought all your stuff to Mexico. You're at the events. You're doing podcasts. You're running a school. You're a dad. You know, you've got all these things on your plate. So it's like, how's that for you? You know,
trying to make me cry?
No, I'm just like,
Just
it's awesome, man. It's a good guy, Dilly.
Good. Thank you. Thanks, Eric.
Is there anything you like more than one thing, where it's like with your disciplines? Like, I feel you've done a good job asking people on the show, but it's like, do you choose down? Is it true? Do you really choose downwinding over everything, or
just keep your right?
Do you love a good prone, or do you love a good tow foil sesh with your buddy? I mean, like, what is it for you, right?
We can all establish that I do not like tow sessions with my buddies.
I know you keep saying it, but I always feel it's like you don't mean it.
I think you always get like bummed out when I say that. You're like, but bro, that's where we really, you know, like that's where I honed in my foiling. That's where we really got together. We're like a team, you know. And no, I understand that. It's just I've had such a pain in the ass with my jet skis. It's just.
Well, you're getting a new one, thankfully.
I know,
so.
Stuck in customs for a month. It's amazing. It feels like a joy.
It already started shitty.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Screw it.
I'm getting
all these problems
ski.
with the jet ski, and I'm always like maintaining, making sure it's up to par, because when a 10-foot swell comes around, I want to take somebody out. I do not want to think about, oh damn, is the jet ski, you know, tuned up, right? And so on top of running this shop and doing the podcast and running the school and whatever else we do, I'm like a jet ski mechanic, you know, and a boat mechanic. And of course, I mean, that's just my job, right? I'm all of these things. But so it just kind of bummed me out. The jet ski always felt like this work for me. Like, I'm like, okay, we're going to go and use my jet ski, and okay, and like make sure it's all tight and, you know, working well. And I just wanted to use it as a working tool. And I think it should be. And I want to enjoy it as well. So I'm like, that's it. I'm buying a brand new jet ski. Like, forget it. So I bought a jet ski in Florida. That was a pain in the butt, trying to get them to box it up for me. What? The time changed?
How did it go to 129? What did we do?
I just don't think it was updating, because we're not on Wi-Fi all the time. Like, we don't have signal all the time.
Yeah, but it just doesn't make sense, because like it's 12:24.
Do you think we took a wrong turn?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that happened last time. Remember, it was like.
So then, what is it? 4 hours?
No.
11,
oh, you know
12.
what?
What?
Dude.
What?
That's why it's weird with the timing.
Why?
We crossed a state, so the time changed.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes.
Because you're in Yucatan?
Yeah, and so now it's only 1 hour difference to Puerto Rico. Damn.
No!
That's what happened last time.
God,
We're like,
dude.
how are we arriving?
This is
Yeah.
crazy.
So we're going to arrive at 1:30. Yeah.
So wait, we were wrong. So when we left, we didn't know there was a time exchange.
No. Okay. That's funny.
Well, damn, that's shitty. I told Max we'd be there after noon, so we would have
Well,
had
afternoon Yucatan time. We'll be fine.
We're like Yucatanos.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called? Yucatanos?
No. Yucatecos.
Yucatecos. Yeah, so jet ski.
Okay, whatever.
Dylan, you love jet.
I do. I love it. It's
gonna
fine.
be, man, you love it.
Please order the treatment. I won't.
Okay, straight. Yeah, continua straight. Yeah, playa. No, yeah. Cancun. Woo! Found it.
1.5 kilometers.
All right. So, what's my favorite? I don't know. I love. Although the downwinding logistics and how long it takes to get all set up and do all of that and get picked up and plan it, and it's so satisfying to be staying on foil for miles and miles at a time. So it's definitely downwinding is my favorite. And then the parawing just has me super stoked. Like the parawing, if I could get more time on it.
Well,
I haven't had that many sessions on it.
if you didn't lose
Because
it.
we haven't. Well, that's one thing. But if I didn't have, I would have been stoked to bring it here.
Would have been fun.
I'm sorry, North.
Yeah. Well, this guy.
So yeah, definitely downwinding, parawinging, even winging with the parawing. Like I didn't think it was going to replace winging for me, but I think it replaces winging for me. Like I don't know. I kind of want to merge over and just parawing.
So maybe that's it for me. Maybe the parawing is going to be.
Yeah, but you're not a very good winger. And I think if
But-
you're
but
gonna
it's
have
a different-
you're gonna find a hard transition. But yeah,
Is
you
it?
can.
Yeah.
But like that river stuff you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like going up in the river, upwind, and then downwinding, and you're like,
Yeah.
this 3 meter wing's in my way. You just
600 meters.
hold the parawing in your hand and then
All
just deploy. Ninja. Yeah. So I think the parawing, I haven't like really dived into it enough because we haven't had that much wind and I've been busy. It was Christmas, the holidays were just super busy. And then I lost my parawing, which I talked about a little bit, which is a super bummer. And
So downwinding and parawing, then that's going to be.
downwind and parawinging is definitely
And then
my
prone?
favorite thing. And prone, yeah. And I mean,
But I
Because
feel
of
like
time-
those like Cuyo sessions in the morning, they're pretty special with the
Yeah, I
sun
haven't-
rising and
yeah, I haven't
like
done that a lot. Anyway, yeah, parawing, downwinding, that stuff, that's just what I really am very excited about. And then whatever else comes up next, is gonna be my favorite. Anyway, I think we're good here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should wrap up. I would
get
say
you- we'll
one
get you
thing
back out.
after listening to all your podcasts, and I would say with foiling, with all this lithium technology coming into play, just remember foiling with your friends is fun too,
Yeah.
Don't become like a, me and my boogie or me and my foil drive kind of.
You can
Foiling.
make it a friendly adventure. But yeah, I know. You remember you saying that. You're like, I'm just gonna go foil drive then by myself instead of trying to prone with my buddy. But you should
Right.
just go prone with them and buzz around. Anyway, thanks, Eric.
Thanks. Thank you for having
Let's
me.
eat some more street tacos. Let's find a gas station. Let's make it a Cancun. Thanks everyone for listening.